Friends, I come back from Israel. About a week ago I came back, and the very first meeting I had with someone, with somebody from Atzala, who was on October 7th at the site of the road called today, the Road of the Death, which is the road that people from the Noah Festival were trying to escape. And very few people were able to get there because the army very quickly blocked all the roads, not knowing what was happening. They didn't let ambulances going through. But he was a local, and therefore he came with his ambulance with another 2 volunteers and was able to treat people. Very quickly he realized that it was out of hand. They didn't have enough equipment to treat all the people coming from the festival. But as we were going in the opposite direction, the first stop we made was in the middle of that road, where he said to us, "Everyone stop, let's go down from the car." We go down from the car, we're just on the road, and he says, "Something happened here that you have to hear." Okay, what happened? He said, the first person that I treated was a chayal, was a soldier, who got shot at on October 7th in the morning. And what happened is that he was on the side of the road. He had a bullet here, right in his lungs. He was bleeding from the lungs and he could barely speak or breathe. He was dying. And as I came close to try to save his life, he told me, "Please come close and give me a hug." This person says, I went, of course, and I gave him a hug, and he saw I had a kippah, and he said to me, "I want to ask you mechila. I want to ask for forgiveness." And this man said, what did you do to me that you need to ask me for forgiveness? And he tells him, "Do you remember what happened on Yom Kippur in Tel Aviv? That there was a gathering of people who wanted to pray, like every year, in a certain area, designated area for people to pray in the street for Yom Kippur. The public service was disturbed and it was interrupted by people who protested the Yom Kippur prayer. And it was a very difficult scene to see, to witness. To go and disturb Jews in a Jewish state in Tel Aviv who wanted to pray on Yom Kippur and not let them pray." He tells him, "I was one of those. I interrupted the Yom Kippur prayer. And I see you wearing a kippah. I need to ask you for forgiveness." This person had tears in his arms. He was holding him very, very dear. Rabotai, this is incredible, that a person did something wrong and had this pending in his mind. It was always in his consciousness, to the point that in the moment of death, and he's dying, he's hugging this person and he's saying mechila because it bothers him deeply. That means that he kept this image of doing something wrong in his mind, and it bothered him. And in the moment of almost dying, that's what he's thinking about. That's how you progress. That's how you become a better person. When you don't avoid what you have done wrong, but quite the opposite, you keep it conscious in front of your eyes. We see this in this week's parasha. The brothers of Yosef are now in Parashat Miketz, constantly facing hurdles and difficult tests when they try to negotiate with Egypt for the release of Shimon and then for the release of Binyamin. And 2 times in the parasha, I'll just read the last one at the end of the parasha, when they say, "Vayomer Yehuda," Yehuda says, when they catch Binyamin, "Ma nomar ladoni, ma nedaber u'ma nitztadak." What do you want us to say? We have nothing to say. "Ha'Elohim matza et avon avadecha." God has found the sin of your slaves. The Sforno on the spot says, "Don't think we're talking about what you caught us, because we know that it was a whole setup and we didn't do any of that." But, says the Sforno, "Bishvil avon she'asinu liyamim rishonim because of things that we did early on, years ago, when we sold Yosef. This sin was pending in their mind constantly, and anything that was happening to them, they would think it's probably something that has to do as a retribution for something we did, something wrong that we did in the past. And that's how they progressed, because they kept constantly this image of them doing the wrong thing. And that's how we grow. The Gemara in Masechet Berachot Daf He says, when somebody experiences something difficult, he has to ask himself, he has to think all the time, what did I do wrong? Why is this happening to me? It's the only way to grow. Yosef and his brothers are an example of that, how to come closer, how to progress, how to become better. This soldier did it. This soldier is always thinking, what did I do wrong? Of course, that was the obvious. He did something wrong and he was repenting. And that's how we have to live our life also, to think about certain things that we did wrong. We are all human beings and we do wrong things. But the only way to progress and to become better is to be constantly thinking, how can I do better? And in order to know how to do better, we have to know what we have done wrong. Oh, I almost forgot. This soldier survived thanks to this person, and they became friends. Shabbat Shalom.